like an H.P. Lovecraft-styled Metroidvania.
So it's
Cthulhu-vania.
Metroid, but more tentacles?
More tentacles. Today we start off with a weekly Muse. And over the last couple weeks, we had a lot of big game announcements and a lot of big game shows. At some point, probably in the next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about Summer Game Fest and a few things that are worth talking about. But it would be too much to discuss today. Really, though, the big thing that I wanted to talk about was the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase that Microsoft put on. Because I think that has a lot of titles that are going to relate to us. And,
Sure.
And some information on games and upcoming stuff that I think is more important. So, the reason why I brought up Squanch.
It's Squanchy Games is a thing, I believe, right? Or Squanch Games?
It is. And so one of the highlights of their showcase was actually a game from Squanchy Games that you might not have known about.
They made Accounting Plus, I believe.
I believe they did, but there is a new one that they announced that I should also mention before I get into this that what they decided to focus on, if you're wondering why there are games that are not included in this list or that they didn't talk about, was they wanted to make it very clear, Phil Spencer wanted to make it very clear, that this is just games that are going to be out inside the next 12 months.
Yes.
So if there's future projects beyond that, they didn't really talk about it during the showcase. But Squanchy Games is making something called High on Life. Don't know if you had heard about this.
I listened to Yahtzee and The Escapist talk about some of this stuff, so I've heard a little bit, yeah, but
Yeah.
not enough.
I figured that might relate a little bit to you just because it's like, it looks like an actual, like, AAA game, like they actually they have the graphics and the fun part about it is that you have all these guns, but they're like bioweapon guns, and they like talk to you, the guns talk to you, and then like spit acid out of their butts and mouths and stuff from the guns.
Sounds about right for Squanch.
Yeah. So that did get a lot of press because it was the first time that we had really heard anything about it. Probably up your alley.
Maybe.
See what I did there? Because the butt. Anyway, so I wanted to lead you off to know that reference actually did mean something. But few other things that might not appeal as much to you, but definitely mean something to me. There's going to be a new Plague Tale, Requiem. I played the first one, Plague Tale Innocence, great game. Great stealth action game. Requiem looks like it's a little bit more action focused, but I'm there for it. Forza Horizon 5 is going to have a Hot Wheels edition.
Why? There's already a Hot Wheels game that costs way too much money.
Yeah, but see, in this one, you're in Forza Horizon 5, but you go to a place where there's just the giant orange Hot Wheels tracks, and you can race the Hot Wheels cars on the tracks across the whole landscape.
I'd rather drive my own car across a Hot Wheels track.
With the loop-de-loops?
Yeah.
You should do that.
Yeah.
You should totally do that.
There's already a $60 Hot Wheels title that you can buy.
There's a $60 Hot Wheels title that you can buy? Why?
Yeah, you can race like your Hot Wheels cars, or the Hot Wheels cars, and you can buy different skins and stuff for them and everything.
Oh, wow.
Like, a ton of the DLC for it are cosmetics and cars, so it's like, just virtually erase your Hot Wheels cars and buy new cars, so you don't get any real cars, you just...
I'm starting to think that this might actually cut into their profit margin, because Horizon is a much better built game, and there's gonna be Hot Wheels cars that they just put into that, and it...
Sorry, it's $49.99. It's
okay.
Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Hot Wheels Unleashed. Oh, right, yeah.
Also, the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels is $19.99.
Is going to be $19.99. Okay.
Yeah. So if I just look really quick, there's 53 DLC for Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Oh, God.
And a lot of them are like under $5. But like when you have that many of them,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of free things too for the holidays and whatnot. And
yeah.
but yeah, like Jurassic World, Monster Trucks, Batman, their Battle Pass or whatever their pass is called, Car Pass. I don't know. Easy Pass is what I would call it.
It's just called Easy Pass.
I would call it that. There's 3 of those. They're each $30.
Why did it get well reviewed at all, or did it get
mixed? It's got mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Recent and very positive all time.
I think I would go with the Forza Horizon version because that was a very well done game. That looks far more photorealistic.
But yeah, if you want
speed.
to race Hot Wheels, you can buy a Hot Wheels title and then spend the next $80 on DLC if you want.
Yeah, or if
$90 if you pass.
Or if you either have Game Pass or you have bought Horizon, maybe just buy the Hot Wheels version, or the Hot Wheels add-on pack for that, because it seems like a more cost-effective, better version. Because you know that the racing is better. But anyway, also a lot of these are going to be Game Pass day of titles.
Of course.
They made it very
Microsoft.
clear. Because they are pushing that hard, and they're doing a good job of it. I will give them credit. So, The Last Case of Benedict Fox. Now, that is, think Metroidvania, but with Cthulhu. Like an H.P. Lovecraft-styled Metroidvania. Cthulhu-vania.
So it's Metroid, but more tentacles?
More tentacles. Surprisingly, more tentacles. Cthulhu-vania. We're gonna call it that.
So it's a side-scroller?
It is.
Exploration?
It is. It's a
Shoot
2D. It's a 2D version.
So the Lovecraftian just comes from the theme?
Comes from the theme, yes. Of like being a detective going through this kind of morose world that's like dealing with cosmic horrors and stuff like that.
Sure. I guess the real question I have is, are any of your enemies going to be based on Cthulhu's mythos? Or...
They didn't really show, like, and I guess that this does kind of fall into the cosmic horror, is that they didn't really show a lot of the enemies specifically, because it's supposed to be a little bit more... Cosmic horror is supposed to be a little bit more a theater of the mind, like what lies beyond. But.
Right. If they had been like, yeah, here's just a horror that looks like Cthulhu, it would be kind of lame.
Yeah, it sure would.
Again, you can't kill Cthulhu. Cthulhu is a thought or an idea.
Yeah, yes, you can't kill Cthulhu. But if you tried, that would be pretty sweet. You wouldn't succeed. In Obsidian news, Grounded is going to actually get full release. It's finally out of early access.
I didn't realize it was still in early access.
Well, they've been doing a lot for the add-ons. Over the course, they've been doing a lot of big updates over the last couple years.
Okay.
But all of that's together. They've put a full story basically in it. All of the additional content that they've put in. Is now something that's going to go into a full release that will be available, and so you'll be able to play that now in more of its final form.
Is anyone still playing Grounded, however?
Well, I mean, I remember when I was watching, Skill Up, and he was talking about how he liked the idea of Grounded when it first came out, but he didn't really want to keep playing it until it got a full release, because he wanted to actually see it once it was done. Because it's a great idea, but not exactly something I want to play without knowing everything that was there. At the time, there was only about a 15-minute story thread. Like, you could blast through the actual mission in 15 minutes and then just tool around and have fun with the building and survival mechanics. But they've actually put, like, a whole storyline in there now, and also a lot of updates where there's the pond, and you have to deal with the giant koi fish and the birds and everything that are coming at you. So, a lot more content there. I played a little bit of it. The spiders are asses.
Terrifying.
They're horrifying. The wolf spider just is, like, big. But they're also just jackasses, because they'll sneak up to you in the middle of the night and, like, 2 hits and you're dead. they are vicious. But it's going to get a full release, and I'm happy about that. Maybe people will come back to it now that it's actually in full release.
Maybe.
New game, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. And now you're probably thinking I have absolutely no idea what any of those words mean. It's fine.
I know what the word Fallen and Dynasty mean.
Okay, great. Wolong, I believe, is the protagonist's name. But what you should know that should get you a little bit excited is that it is a new game from Team Ninja, and it's going to probably follow the same vein as another Souls-like game they made called Nioh.
Okay.
So,
I don't know if that makes me excited or not, because it's still Souls-like.
That's true, but you played some Nioh, right?
Yeah, I didn't play a lot of it, but I played it for a bit.
Okay. I don't think that this is quite the frenetic combat that they put into Nioh, but I think it is still more action-oriented than like a Dark Souls was, which would be good. I'd like to at least see that. Again, I'm not really against Souls-likes as an idea, but I just really don't want From Software to make them. But anyway, also, since we've been on the Diablo kick, there was a little bit more of a preview of, like, Diablo 4.
So, at the Xbox and Blizzard?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Microsoft owns Blizzard Activision now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, and Diablo 4 looks like it's coming along okay. It will...
Sure, with the $6 million they made off of the first couple of days of Diablo Immortal, I hope they have enough funding for it.
So that basically, when they launch Diablo 4, it will make Immortal completely irrelevant.
Good.
But I did happen to watch something very recently from Josh Strife, where he was talking about an internal thing in Blizzard where they were asking for somebody to work on the store, and that it was going to be anchored in cosmetics, which suggests that they are going to have more microtransactions in Diablo 4, similar to what they would do in Immortal.
Well, that's fine if they're cosmetic only.
Oh, yeah, but see, that's the thing. The way they phrased it is anchored in cosmetics. I.e., cosmetics would be a primary reason for it, but it's not exclusive to it.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see what happens, but they'll try to microtransaction it into hell. Why do you do this to Diablo, guys? Don't touch Diablo. It's too precious for us. The devil went down to Bethesda. Anyway, also a little bit of a secret hush-hush. We don't really know the name of the project, but Hideo Kojima came out.
Oh, yes.
To say that he is indeed working on a project with Microsoft for a game that's going to be coming out to the Xbox and presumably
some
PC.
kind of horror game, I believe, right? Because that's what Kojima does.
He does do horror games. I don't think it's going... This is supposed to be like a new IP, as far as I'm aware. So we're not looking at Metal Gear, because I don't think he can even technically do Metal Gear.
No, that's Konami.
Konami still owns that. I mean, he made it, but, you know, the Konami's went and destroyed it with Survive, so who cares? But then also, that it's... I don't think it's going to be Death Stranding or Death Stranding, like a new Death Stranding or anything, which, damn, I wanted more of my Norman Reedus. But, anyway, so something brand new in the works, and if they're announcing it, I guess we'll know in the next year. And then the big one that I guess we should probably talk about a little bit is that they gave us a lot more information on, not Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield.
Yeah.
A little bit more on Starfield, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some things, but I'll let you tell me about it too.
Alright, let me see if I can give you a little bit of an upshot of this, because I did end up doing a Titanium Mine where I'll talk more about the existential crisis that it poses, but basically, when they started showing this off, I thought to myself, oh, okay, you're basically doing like a Fallout game, but it's in space. Okay, it's like Elder Scrolls. And they're showing these are facilities. There's like a first-person shooter aspect where you're going through the facilities, you're going through, wreckage and going across planets, and you're scouting them out, and there are colonies, and you can talk to NPCs, and it's like, okay, good. More of like the RPG, but in space. That's good, because that's not quite exactly the niche that's fit by some of the other space games that are more exploration or combat focused. This is more the role-playing customization. And then Todd Howard comes out with his fancy boots, and I don't know what he was wearing that day. But
fancy boots, apparently. Probably cowboy boots.
No, you know what it is? There was that girlfriend reviews thing where she started singing Todd Howard Fancy Shoes, and because after like Fallout 4 or 76. Anyway, not important. Todd started talking a little bit more about the idea that you'd be able to customize your ship, and then there's also base building, and I'm like, oh, base building. Okay, I've seen that before. Good to note. But there's a storyline, and there's going to be missions and submissions, and apparently a 30 or 40 hour main campaign, and it's like, well, that's pretty girthy for campaigns, even relative to other Fallout titles and stuff, it's longer. And so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, no, this sounds good. I'd like to try it out. Sure, let's go for it. And then there's the part where you just kind of go, I don't know how this is gonna work. They start talking about Todd starts talking about the idea of the planet, and there are actual colonies that you get to go to that are like constructed with factions and all of that good stuff. And you can land there, but, ooh, happy day, you have a spaceship, and your spaceship can actually land anywhere on the planet.
Right.
Okay, so now we basically have whole planets that we're visiting, and you can go into space, and there's space combat too. And I'm like, okay, so I don't see this being as constructed overall if we're going everywhere.
I heard a rumor there was going to be 1,000 planets.
That's not a rumor. That is what he said.
Exactly.
There are literally 100 solar systems and 1,000 planets between them for you to visit that are completely explorable.
10 planets.
And this leads to the problem that I think a lot of people are having in the discussion that's been going on right now is, in a typical Bethesda game, if you got a hold of a Skyrim or a Fallout, anything like that, there's a map. The map is populated with a lot of things. There's caves, there's dungeons, there's lots of different things to do all across the map. It is packed full of stuff. It's big, it's expansive, but there's always stuff going on. They're not going to be able to do that with 1,000 fully explorable planets. So, the question then becomes, what exactly is the mission structure going to be? How much of it is procedurally generated out there in the wastes? And am I just going to be walking across hundreds of miles of barren space that has no content in it? At which point, I don't care if there's 1,000 planets.
Yes, you're going to be flying through lots of barren space because space is mostly empty.
Space is mostly empty. Exactly. But then you get onto the planets, and I'm assuming that most of the gameplay is on the planets.
Probably.
If that is the case, I know one of two things are true. Either it's mostly procedurally generated. Well, no, we know it's going to be mostly procedurally generated. Bethesda's even done that in some other games. But it's going to be procedurally generated, and there's not going to be a lot of content on most of those planets, even. Which, at that point, why have them, realistically? Or they want to populate it with a lot of stuff. Like, there's a lot of, maybe just procedurally generated, but a lot of things to do on all the planets, at which point, I don't have time to do it all, and therefore it's irrelevant to the story and the narrative and the RPG elements of it.
Well, one person I listened to was guessing that a lot of the planets are probably just going to be survival materials and like resource hubs where you gather a lot, because there is apparently No Man's Sky style resource gathering and the like.
There's mining. There's going to be
mining and everything.
Yep.
The other thing I heard was from the same person was that the combat looked really boring.
I was watching, I think, Mr. Matty Plays, and he was saying, yeah, that combat looks rough. It's it doesn't feel impactful. Like, bullets don't seem to, like, when you shoot someone, there's no reaction. They just kind of keep going along and everything, and it felt really, like, weak in terms, like, maybe better combat than a lot of the Fallout games, but that's...
Sure.
You know, Fallout was not known for having really tight FPS combat. I like that they had the like jetpack. You have a jetpack, you can go across ravines and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's
every
cool.
space game has a jetpack.
They need a jetpack. It is a requirement. So it's probably going to be coming out first quarter, I think, of 2023 at this point. So we have less than 12 months to actually find out about it. But what I did talk about in the Titanium Mine was mostly the idea about the existential threat of games that are so large or ask so much of your time that it becomes near impossible to actually, like, really fully experience them. And like, I'm okay with it in some things that just want me to be exploration based, like in a No Man's Sky. I can do that. I can appreciate what they did with, like, Elite Dangerous or in Everspace 2, where they want you to be able to go to all these places and try different things. In an FPS formula where I'm supposed to be much more, you know, in depth with my character specifically, though, and their story and the story of everybody else around it, I wonder if this is the formula that they're putting together is going to work. It's kind of up in the middle of nowhere for me. So
up in space.
It's up in space somewhere. It's up in space. So yeah, like, as I said, there were some other game announcement and showcase things that went on, and we'll talk about that later. But those seemed like the more relevant ones, and I'm interested in, obviously, what Blizzard and Bethesda are doing. So yeah. Did any of the stuff that I mentioned here hit you particularly well? No.
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Not even Squanchies?
I've never played any of the games. The other title, Accounting Plus, was VR.
There was another one that looked a lot more like a Rick and Morty.
Well, yeah, Squanchy is a reference from Rick and Morty, and I believe is in conjunction with Justin Roiland.
Yeah.
Who is a creator of Rick and Morty, so that's where that all ties in. He's got a very specific brand of humor.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Which is not a bad type of humor, it's just very ridiculous over the top in a lot of cases.
Yeah. It's very conceptual.
I appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah.
Accounting Plus, everything I've seen of that is just wild, for
instance.
So that's definitely going to be interesting. I don't know if I'd ever want to play it, but I'm sure I'll see something. I'm sure he'll do something ridiculous out the gate with it, so...
Yeah. If I can find it, I will try to give you the preview of it so you can see what it's like. There was one other thing that I was going to mention about the Xbox Showcase, but I think I will lead off our next segment with it because it is related to what you want to talk about.
Yes. Please, go ahead and lead off with that.
All right.